9 things you should never receive from anyone. Wisdom for living like Stoicism. Today on Stoic in Your Life, we're going to explore a crucial aspect of Stoic wisdom. The 9 things you should never receive from anyone, not even those who are closest to you. And no, we're not talking about those unappetizing fruitcakes or unwanted advice that often come your way. We're delving into the more insidious things, those subtle judgments, unsolicited opinions, and heavy expectations that can quietly weigh you down, drain your energy, and obstruct your path to true inner peace and resilience. In this video, we'll uncover why these things are so harmful, how they can disrupt your mental clarity and emotional balance, and, most importantly, how to recognize them before they take root in your mind. But don't worry, I'll also share with you practical, Stoic strategies to help you politely yet firmly reject these emotional traps, ensuring you maintain your focus and integrity in a world often filled with noise and distraction. And make sure to stay until the end, because I'm going to reveal the single most damaging thing you should never accept from anyone. It's something that, once identified and understood, can actually become a powerful catalyst for your own personal growth and strength. Are you ready to fortify your mind and reclaim your peace? Let's dive in and start this transformative journey together. First, the trap of unsolicited opinions. In a world where everyone seems to have an opinion on how you should live your life, the challenge lies not in receiving advice, but in discerning which ones to keep and which to discard. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the barrage of unsolicited opinions that seem to come your way, like a relentless tide? It's as if you're a magnet for advice you never sought, much like a door-to-door salesman persistently offering you a product you have no interest in. Today, let's talk about this first insidious trap we must avoid, the weed that sneaks into the garden of our minds. Unsolicited opinions. Picture this. You're standing in line at the grocery store, your cart filled with fresh fruits and vegetables, a symbol of your commitment to a healthier lifestyle. Suddenly, the lady behind you glances at your selection and exclaims, "Oh dear, all that fiber might give you gas." There it is, a classic case of an unsolicited opinion hitting you out of nowhere. While these moments might seem harmless or even humorous, they're often more than just a casual remark. These unwelcome opinions can act like toxic herbicides, slowly poisoning your confidence, clouding your judgment, and planting seeds of self-doubt. Why are these unsolicited opinions so dangerous? Because they subtly make us question our choices and judgments. Over time, if unchecked, they can lead us to live according to someone else's expectations rather than our own. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, once wisely observed, "Don't worry about other people's opinions unless they align with your own principles." His words remind us that the only opinions worth considering are those that resonate with our inner values and beliefs. But how do we navigate the sea of opinions in our daily lives without becoming cold or dismissive? The answer lies in cultivating an internal filter, a sort of mental detector for useful opinions. Start by asking yourself, did I seek this opinion? If the answer is no, that's your first clue to proceed with caution. Next, consider the source. Does this person truly understand my situation or have experience in the subject matter? If your neighbor, who has never worked in your field, is offering unsolicited career advice, it might not be the most valuable insight to take to heart. Most importantly, reflect on whether this opinion aligns with your values and goals. Because at the end of the day, you are the foremost authority on your own life. You are the one who knows your dreams, fears, and motivations best. Remember Epictetus's profound advice. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The same applies to opinions. It's not the unsolicited advice itself, but how you choose to respond to it that determines its impact on your life. Now, this doesn't mean we should reject all unsolicited advice. Sometimes there's wisdom hidden even in the most unexpected places, akin to finding a nugget of gold in a river filled with stones. The key is to become like a skilled prospector, sifting through the murky waters of others' thoughts and opinions to find those rare pieces of wisdom that truly resonate with your life's path. So, the next time someone offers you an opinion you didn't ask for, take a moment to smile and thank them. Acknowledge their intention. After all, many times, advice comes from a place of concern or kindness. However, this does not mean that their opinion deserves a permanent place in your mental garden. As Epictetus also taught, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. In other words, protect your inner circle and mental space by carefully choosing what you allow to influence you. Remember, your mind is like a precious garden, and you are its sole gardener. Be mindful of what you plant in it, because that is what will grow. If an unsolicited opinion makes its way in, don't hesitate to use your mental shears to prune it away. Your mind is not a public park open to all. It is a private sanctuary, where only thoughts that contribute to your growth and well-being should be allowed to flourish. In the fast-paced, opinion-filled world we live in, it's easy to get caught up in the noise. However, the wisdom of the Stoics teaches us to remain centered, to focus on what we can control, and to let go of what we cannot, including the opinions of others. Seneca wisely noted, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Often the turmoil created by unsolicited opinions is more a product of our reaction than the opinion itself. So, take a deep breath, filter out the noise, and focus on your path. By understanding and internalizing this, you not only reclaim your peace of mind but also gain the freedom to live a life that's true to your own values. It's about realizing that you have the power to choose whose voices you allow to echo in your mind. Let them be voices that encourage, inspire, and align with the person you strive to become. The next time someone throws an unsolicited opinion your way, consider it a test of your ability to stay true to yourself amidst the clamor of the world. Smile, thank them, and then decide if that opinion is worth keeping. Remember, as the Stoics teach, it's not the external events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. You have the power to choose your thoughts to shape your mind's garden. So plant only what nourishes you, and weed out the rest with wisdom and grace. Second, the dangerous gift of other people's expectations. Have you ever caught yourself living a life that doesn't feel like your own? Picture this. Your life is a beautiful blank canvas, waiting for your unique brushstrokes to turn it into a masterpiece. You hold the brush, excited and ready to paint your story, but suddenly everyone around you, your parents, your boss, your friends, even society at large, shows up with their own palettes of colors. They start dictating what your painting should look like. You should be a lawyer, one says. You must get married before 30, another insists. Buy a house, have kids, secure a stable job. They all seem to shout in unison. And before you know it, your once pristine canvas is filled with strokes and colors that don't feel like yours at all. You realize you're holding a brush, but the picture forming before you is not one you recognize. It's the dangerous gift of other people's expectations, a gift that can be more insidious than a snake lurking in your garden. Why is this gift so dangerous, you might wonder? It's because these expectations often come from people we care about deeply, our parents, friends, or mentors, and that makes them incredibly hard to ignore. Unlike unsolicited opinions from strangers, these expectations carry weight and often come wrapped in a blanket of love and concern, making us feel obligated to heed them. But think about this. History is filled with those who dared to defy these very expectations. Take Albert Einstein, for instance, the name that instantly brings to mind a wild-haired genius who revolutionized physics. His teachers once considered him a mediocre student, and even told him he would never amount to anything. Imagine if Einstein had let those words define his path. Instead, he chose to follow his curiosity, to think differently, to challenge the status quo, and in doing so, he reshaped our understanding of the universe. This brings us to a crucial question. Are you letting someone else's expectations dictate your life's canvas? Let's not mistake this message for an encouragement to disregard everyone's opinions and become a hermit who rebels against all advice. Instead, the goal is to develop a discerning mind, a filter that lets you identify which expectations align with your true self and which are better left behind. And here's where the timeless wisdom of Stoicism can guide us. Epictetus, a revered Stoic philosopher, offered a simple yet powerful strategy. Some things are within our control and others are not. Applying this to the realm of expectations, it means recognizing that while you cannot control what others expect of you, you have full control over how you choose to respond. So, the next time you feel the weight of someone else's expectations pressing down on your shoulders, try this. First, pause and take a deep breath. Remind yourself that these are their expectations, not yours. Second, ask yourself, does this expectation align with my values and my life goals? If the answer is no, then acknowledge their advice, because it often comes from a place of care, and gently let it go. Remember, you are the artist of your own life, and no one else has the right to paint your masterpiece for you. Think about the shoes analogy. Living under the weight of others' expectations is like wearing a pair of shoes that don't quite fit. Sure, you can walk in them for a while, but eventually the discomfort becomes unbearable. And if you don't take them off, you might end up with blisters that leave lasting scars. So why not dare to walk barefoot, if that's what feels right for you? Yes, it might be unconventional, and yes, you might step on a few rocks along the way, but isn't that better than walking in pain just to please others? At the end of the day, the only person you are guaranteed to live with for the rest of your life is yourself. So why not make that relationship the most exciting, authentic adventure you can imagine? Here's a modern story to illustrate this point. Consider the tale of a young professional, Sarah, who always dreamed of becoming an artist. Yet her parents insisted she pursue a more stable career path, pushing her towards law. Despite her passion for painting, she conformed, went to law school, and eventually became a lawyer. But every day in her office felt like a betrayal of her true self. One day, after reading about Epictetus and reflecting on what she could control, Sarah decided to make a change. She began painting again in her spare time, and before long she realized she had to make a choice: continue living her parents' dream or pursue her own. She chose the latter, eventually becoming a successful artist. Sarah's story is a testament to the power of choosing your path and the fulfillment that comes with it. So ask yourself, are you painting a picture that belongs to someone else, or are you brave enough to create your own masterpiece? The answer lies within you. Stoic wisdom reminds us to focus on what is within our control, our thoughts, our actions, and ultimately, our own lives. You have the power to choose whose expectations you let into your life and whose you kindly shut out. In doing so, you begin to reclaim your canvas, filling it with colors and strokes that are authentically yours. At the end of it all, remember this: life is far too short to live in someone else's shadow. Be the artist of your own story, paint boldly, and let every stroke reflect your true self. Make your life a masterpiece, not a copy of someone else's. Thank you for joining us in today's video. Before we move on to the next segment, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude for having you as a part of our community. Your presence here truly means a lot to us. Please feel free to share your stories or thoughts in the comments below. If you're not sure what to say, just leave a comment saying, "I am a newbie" if you're new here, or "I am Stoic" if you've been with us for a while. Your engagement not only shows your presence, but also greatly motivates us to keep bringing you valuable content. So, let's continue this journey of growth and wisdom together, shall we? Third, the hidden burden of favors with strings attached. Have you ever been offered a favor or a gift that seemed almost too good to be true? Think of your life as a chess game, where every move is calculated, every decision matters, and each piece plays a crucial role in your strategy. Now, imagine someone suddenly offering you an extra pawn, a seemingly small but helpful addition to your game. It sounds appealing at first, an unexpected advantage perhaps. But what if that pawn is actually a Trojan horse, a hidden trap designed to undermine your strategy from within? This is the hidden burden of favors with strings attached. These favors are like poisoned gifts, disguised as acts of kindness or generosity, but carrying a hidden cost that can far outweigh any apparent benefit. How do you spot these deceptive favors before they compromise your position? There are a few key signs to watch for. First, observe the frequency. If someone is repeatedly offering you favors without any clear reason, it might be time to raise an eyebrow. Why is this person so eager to help? Second, consider the timing. Does this favor conveniently coincide with a time when that person stands to gain something from you? If so, it's worth pausing to think. Third, trust your intuition. If something feels off about the favor, if there's a little voice in your head hinting that something isn't quite right, listen to it. Your intuition is a powerful tool. And fourth, analyze the consequences. Does accepting this favor put you in a position where you feel obligated to return the gesture immediately? Or even worse, does it place you in a compromising situation? We're not suggesting you become overly suspicious or refuse all offers of help. The key is to develop a sort of internal radar, a detector for genuine favors versus those that come with hidden strings. The great Stoic philosopher Seneca had profound thoughts on true friendship and generosity. He believed that genuine acts of kindness are done purely for the joy of helping another person without any expectation of something in return. Seneca famously said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." Applying this wisdom to favors means being wary of those that come with unspoken expectations of future repayment or obligation. So, when someone offers you a favor, ask yourself, is this person acting like a modern-day Seneca, selflessly helping for the sake of kindness? Or are they more like a salesperson in disguise, trying to hook you with a favor that will soon have a price tag? It's important to remember that not every favor is a trap. Many people are genuinely kind and generous. The challenge lies in discerning their true intentions. And here's the most crucial point: learning to say no without feeling a pang of guilt. If a favor doesn't sit well with you, or if your gut feeling tells you something is off, it's perfectly okay, indeed it's wise, to decline politely. Your peace of mind, your mental clarity is worth far more than any favor someone might offer you. Don't allow anyone to make you feel indebted for something you never asked for in the first place. Consider this. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where a favor you accepted started to feel like a debt? Perhaps it was a coworker who offered to cover for you at work but then began to expect you to return the favor at inconvenient times. Or maybe it was a friend who helped you move but started making subtle demands on your time. How did that make you feel? Did it create a sense of imbalance or discomfort? This is the hidden cost of favors with strings attached. They come with an unspoken ledger, a silent expectation that can erode your sense of autonomy and peace. So what should you do the next time someone offers you a favor that seems a little too generous or conveniently timed? Take a moment to pause, take a deep breath, and analyze the situation carefully. Ask yourself if accepting this favor aligns with your values and whether it could lead to unwanted obligations. Remember the wisdom of the Stoics. Maintain control over your own decisions, and don't let anyone steer you into a position where you feel you owe them something. Your life is your own game of chess, and you are the player in control. You decide your moves, and you are the one who strategizes your path forward. Don't let anyone else dictate your strategy by placing a pawn that ultimately serves their interests more than yours. Ultimately, the lesson here is about protecting your autonomy and preserving your mental peace. It's about being discerning and cautious without becoming closed off or cynical. It's about recognizing the value of true, selfless generosity versus those offers that come with a hidden agenda. So the next time you're offered a favor that seems too good to be true, remember this. In the chess game of life, you are the main player. Every piece you move, every decision you make, should be yours and yours alone. Don't let anyone else manipulate your moves with poisoned gifts or favors with strings attached. Stay true to your path, trust your intuition, and remember that your peace of mind is your greatest asset. Guard it wisely. Fourth, constant negativity. Ever feel like you're surrounded by a constant cloud of negativity, as if someone's always raining on your parade? Now, we're going to explore how to protect yourself from this emotional downpour and reclaim your peace of mind with the wisdom of Stoicism. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to carry a dark cloud over their heads, constantly dripping pessimism and gloom onto everything they touch? Imagine for a moment that your mind is a lush, thriving garden filled with vibrant flowers of positivity and hope. Now think of those relentlessly negative people as ravenous snails, ready to chew through every blossoming bud of optimism you're trying to cultivate. It sounds frustrating, doesn't it? The truth is, constant negativity is like a slow-acting poison that seeps into our lives, often without us even realizing it. At first glance, it might seem harmless, perhaps even normal. After all, who doesn't vent or complain from time to time? But when negativity becomes a habitual pattern, it begins to wear away at our happiness and overall well-being. This isn't just a philosophical notion. It's a scientifically backed reality. Research has shown that emotions are incredibly contagious. Yes, that's right. Negativity can cling to you like an unwelcome virus. This phenomenon is known as emotional contagion, and it's as real as the air you breathe. Studies from Indiana University have demonstrated that prolonged exposure to negative emotions doesn't just ruin your mood, it can actually affect your brain function, potentially rewiring it to become more prone to negative thinking. Can you believe that? Those constant complaints and grumblings aren't just souring your day, they could be reshaping your brain's pathways. So how do we defend ourselves against this subtle yet pervasive toxin without retreating into complete isolation? Once again, our Stoic friends provide us with invaluable guidance. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, offered a profound yet straightforward strategy for maintaining serenity amidst negativity. Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. This may sound deceptively simple, but its power lies in its clarity and truth. What Marcus Aurelius is essentially teaching us is that we hold the power to decide how we react to negativity. The next time you find yourself trapped in a vortex of negative energy, consider this. First, take a deep, calming breath and remind yourself that other people's negative emotions and thoughts don't have to become your own. You have the choice to observe them without absorbing them. Second, ask yourself a critical question. Is this negativity providing me with any real value or insight? If the answer is no, then it's time to set some healthy boundaries. Third, practice empathy, not as a way to absorb negativity, but to understand its source. Often, the most negative people are those who are suffering the most themselves. While it's important to be compassionate, remember not to let their inner turmoil seep into your own mind. Understand their pain, but don't take it on as your own. Finally, focus on cultivating your own mental garden. Fill it with thoughts of gratitude, positivity, and constructive actions. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, wisely advised, "The key to happiness and success is choosing the right people to surround you." This means it's crucial to be selective about the company you keep. If your social circle is filled with perpetual pessimists, it might be time to rethink those relationships. Now, let's translate this wisdom into modern life. Have you ever found yourself in a group where one person's constant complaining seems to drain the energy out of everyone around them? Maybe it's a colleague who always focuses on what's wrong instead of what's right, or a friend who never seems to have a positive thing to say. Over time, being around such negativity can feel exhausting, even debilitating. It's like being in a room filled with smoke. You may not notice it at first, but eventually it starts to choke you. So what can you do? First, recognize the impact of this negativity on your mental state. Acknowledge how it makes you feel and understand that you have the right to protect your own emotional well-being. Second, consider distancing yourself from chronic negativity. This doesn't mean cutting people out of your life completely, but rather choosing when and how to engage with them. Set boundaries and make a conscious effort to limit your exposure to toxic attitudes. Third, focus on surrounding yourself with those who uplift and inspire you, who encourage you to see the beauty and potential in life rather than just the problems. As Jim Rohn famously said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Make sure those 5 people are ones who bring light, not darkness, into your life. And if you find that negativity has taken root too deeply in your environment, remember that you have the power to make changes. You can choose to cultivate a different garden, one filled with positivity, hope, and resilience. Don't let someone else's storm cloud rain on your parade. Your mind is a sacred space. Tend to it with care, and don't allow the weeds of negativity to take hold. Instead, plant seeds of kindness, optimism, and gratitude, and watch as your life flourishes. So, are you ready to detect and neutralize negativity in your life? Remember, your mind is a precious garden. Nurture it, protect it, and make sure it's a place where positivity can grow unhindered. Before we dive into the next topic, if you're finding value in this conversation, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel with the notification bell so you don't miss out on future insights. And if you resonate with Stoic teachings and want to continue on this journey of self-improvement, leave a comment saying, "I like Stoicism," and consider becoming a channel member to join our vibrant community. Let's keep learning together, growing together, and striving to live our best lives. Fifth, the dangerous illusion of external validation. Have you ever caught yourself repeatedly checking your phone, eagerly waiting for that little notification that tells you someone liked your latest post? If you have, you're certainly not alone. Think about your self-esteem like a balloon. Each like, each compliment, each pat on the back is like a puff of air that inflates it, making you feel good, even confident. It sounds great at first, doesn't it? But here's the catch. What happens when those puffs of air stop coming? What if the likes slow down, the compliments dry up, and the external validation you've come to depend on suddenly vanishes? The truth is, constantly seeking approval from others is like building your house on quicksand. It feels secure for a while, but the foundation is unstable, and at any moment, it can all come crashing down. And trust me, you don't want to find yourself in that sinking feeling when it does. Let me share a lighthearted story that captures this perfectly. Juan, an ordinary guy like many of us, decided one day to post a picture of his breakfast, a simple bowl of oatmeal. He spent 20 minutes trying to find the perfect filter, another 10 minutes crafting a clever caption, and then he waited. He checked his phone every 30 seconds for the next hour. When the first like finally came in, he was overjoyed, nearly jumping for joy. But as 2 hours passed and he had only accumulated 5 likes, his excitement turned into a spiral of self-doubt. Is my life that boring? He wondered. Should I have added strawberries for more color? It's easy to chuckle at Juan's dilemma, but let's be honest, haven't we all fallen into this same trap at some point, perhaps in subtler ways? Now, let's turn to our wise Stoic friend, Epictetus, who offers timeless advice that directly addresses this modern-day struggle. Epictetus once said, "Don't seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do, and you will be happy." What he's teaching us is profound. Our happiness and self-esteem should not be tethered to external factors that are beyond our control. Instead of constantly looking outward for validation and approval, we should focus on what we can control: our own actions, our values, and our inner sense of worth. So, how do we break free from the cycle of needing external validation to feel good about ourselves? Here are some practical steps. First, engage in regular self-reflection. Ask yourself why you do what you do. Are your actions driven by your own desires and values, or are they designed to impress others? Second, set your own standards. Take the time to define what success and happiness mean to you. not based on the number of likes on social media or the praise of others. Third, make it a habit to celebrate your personal achievements no matter how small they may seem. Remember, it doesn't matter if no one else sees or understands them. What matters is that you do. Fourth, learn to be comfortable with disagreement and differing opinions. Not everyone will approve of your choices or actions, and that's perfectly okay. Consider this. True validation, the kind that sustains you and builds a strong foundation for self-esteem, comes from within. It's like having a wellspring of fresh water in your own backyard, always available and never dependent on the uncertain and often unpredictable rain of others' approval. So, the next time you catch yourself feeling anxious, waiting for a compliment, a pat on the back, or another like, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, do I really need this external validation? Or can I find that sense of worth within myself? Reflect on the words of another great philosopher, Seneca, who said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Let that sink in. By craving external approval, we often make ourselves poorer in spirit, endlessly chasing something that will never truly satisfy us. At the end of the day, remember this. The only opinion that truly matters is yours. Your self-worth is not a balloon that others can inflate or deflate with their words, likes, or approval. It's a deep reservoir that resides within you, built on your own understanding of who you are and what you stand for. So, nurture that inner reservoir, and don't let it run dry waiting for someone else to fill it. Because ultimately, the most valuable validation comes from knowing that you are living authentically, true to your own values and principles. And that, my friend, is something that no one can ever take away from you. Sixth, the invisible weight of unfair comparisons. Have you ever felt like you're constantly running a race you never signed up for, always glancing over your shoulder to see who's catching up or pulling ahead? Picture your life as a peaceful train journey. You're moving along, enjoying the scenery at your own comfortable pace when suddenly, out of the corner of your eye, you spot another train speeding past you. What do? For many of us, the temptation to compare ourselves is overwhelming. We immediately start questioning if we should speed up, without realizing that every train is on its own unique track, heading to its own distinct destination. Comparing ourselves to others is like a subtle, invisible weight, one that gradually drags us down, steals our peace, and fills us with a sense of inadequacy that can feel impossible to shake. It's a silent thief that robs us of joy and satisfaction, leaving us chasing a mirage of happiness that always seems just out of reach. And let's be honest, even those who seem to have everything figured out aren't immune to this struggle. Consider Lady Gaga, a global superstar and one of the most successful artists of our generation. In a candid interview, she admitted that despite her incredible success, she often found herself trapped in the cycle of comparing herself to other artists, which led her to question her self-worth and her unique talents. "I used to look at other women in the industry and feel so insecure," she shared. "I wondered if I was pretty or if my music was good enough." This honest confession reminds us that even those who appear to be at the pinnacle of success can fall prey to the damaging effects of comparison. It shows that no matter where we are in life, comparison can creep in, sowing seeds of doubt and insecurity. So, how do we break free from this invisible burden that keeps us tethered to an endless cycle of self-criticism and doubt? This is where the timeless wisdom of Stoicism comes into play. Epictetus, a revered Stoic philosopher, provides a simple yet profound exercise to help us detach from the need to compare ourselves to others. The exercise is straightforward but incredibly effective. Whenever you catch yourself comparing yourself to someone else, pause and ask, "Is this within my control?" The answer, of course, is almost always no. You cannot control someone else's talents, their opportunities, or their successes. The only thing you have control over is your own actions, your efforts, and your attitude. Let's walk through this together. First, identify the thought of comparison. "I wish I were as successful as my coworker." Second, stop and take a deep breath. Third, ask yourself, Is your coworker's success something you can control? The answer is clearly no. Fourth, acknowledge this reality and let go of the comparative thought. Finally, shift your focus back to what you can control: your work ethic, your dedication, your learning, and your personal growth. This exercise might seem simple, but its strength lies in its repetition and consistency. Every time you practice it, you build mental resilience, reinforcing your ability to focus on your own journey, rather than getting lost in the journeys of others. Think about it this way: your journey is uniquely yours. Comparing your beginning to someone else's middle, or your chapter 1 to their chapter 20, serves no purpose other than to diminish your own progress and achievements. Everyone moves at their own pace, facing their own distinct challenges and celebrating their own victories. So, the next time you catch yourself in the trap of comparison, envision yourself back on that train. Instead of constantly peeking out the window to see how other trains are faring, keep your eyes on your own track. Relish the journey, appreciate the scenic stops along the way, and recognize that every mile you travel is a testament to your persistence and courage. Remember, the only comparison that truly matters is the one you make with yourself. Are you a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday? Are you making strides towards your own goals and aspirations? That's the measure that truly counts. As the philosopher Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Instead of craving what others have or achieving what others have achieved, focus on enriching your own life with growth, learning, and self-improvement. Because at the end of the day, life isn't a competition against others, but a journey to becoming the best version of yourself. So ask yourself, are you moving in the direction you want to go? Are you focusing on your own path? These are the questions that will lead you to true contentment and fulfillment. Seventh, the prison of unsolicited advice. Have you ever felt like you're living in a world where everyone seems to know what's best for you, except you? It's as if every person you encounter suddenly has a PhD in your life, confidently telling you what you should do, how you should think, and which choices are right for you. Picture your mind as your own home, a place where you should feel safe and in control. But imagine if it seemed like everyone around you had a key to your house, coming in uninvited, moving the furniture around and telling you how to arrange your living room. It's frustrating, isn't it? This is exactly what unsolicited advice feels like. Those unexpected guests who show up without notice, overstay their welcome, and often leave behind a mess that you're left to clean up. But how do we handle these situations without shutting ourselves off from the world or becoming antisocial? The first step is understanding the difference between solicited and unsolicited advice. Solicited advice is like inviting a friend over for dinner. You expect it, you welcome it, and often, you enjoy the insights and camaraderie that come with it. Unsolicited advice, on the other hand, is like that intrusive neighbor who knocks on your door just as you're about to sit down and enjoy your meal, uninvited and often unwelcome. So how do we navigate this minefield of unsolicited advice with grace and maintain our peace of mind? Here are a few strategies to consider. First, express gratitude without commitment. A simple, "Thanks for sharing your opinion," can go a long way in acknowledging someone's input without necessarily taking it on board. Second, establish clear boundaries. You might say, "I appreciate your concern, but I'd prefer to handle this my way." This approach communicates respect for their perspective while affirming your own autonomy. Third, consider redirecting the conversation. Gently changing the subject can often defuse a potentially awkward situation and steer it away from more unsolicited advice. And fourth, don't underestimate the power of humor. Sometimes a lighthearted joke can ease the tension and convey your message without coming across as confrontational. It's important to remember that handling unsolicited advice isn't about being rude or dismissive. It's about safeguarding your mental and emotional space. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, provides a profound perspective on this. He wrote, "Look within. Within is the wellspring of good, which can always bubble up if you always dig. What Marcus Aurelius is teaching us here is that true wisdom doesn't come from outside voices but from within ourselves. We don't need to constantly seek out external advice to find the right path. Rather, we should learn to trust our own intuition and rely on our own experiences. This doesn't mean we should ignore all advice. Sometimes, external perspectives can be incredibly valuable, offering insights we might not have considered. The key lies in learning to filter these inputs, discerning which advice is genuinely helpful and which is merely noise. Now let's be realistic. Not all advice is bad. The challenge is knowing how to distinguish between the advice that is worth considering and that which isn't. A simple rule of thumb to follow is to take advice only from those who are where you aspire to be. For instance, in my personal life, I run a YouTube channel and regularly hit the gym. If someone who has never created online content offers me advice on managing my channel, I'll probably nod politely and take it with a grain of salt. However, if a successful YouTuber shares their insights, you can bet I'll be listening closely. The same goes for the gym. If someone who has never lifted a weight gives me training tips, I'll appreciate their interest, but likely continue with my own regimen. But if an experienced trainer offers guidance, I'm much more inclined to take their advice seriously. The next time you find yourself bombarded with unsolicited advice, take a deep breath and remember, you are the foremost expert on your own life. No one else knows your circumstances, challenges, or goals better than you do. Practice the art of listening politely, but don't feel compelled to act on every piece of advice that comes your way. Think of unsolicited advice as a buffet. Take what serves you and leave the rest. Marcus Aurelius would remind us that true wisdom is within you, waiting to be discovered. So ask yourself, are you ready to break free from the prison of unsolicited advice? Remember, your mind is your castle, and you hold the keys. You decide who comes in and who stays. Don't be afraid to stand guard over your thoughts and decisions, protecting the sanctuary of your inner life from unnecessary clutter. By doing so, you ensure that your mind remains a place of peace, wisdom, and strength. If you've made it this far, you're truly embracing the path of Stoic wisdom. Drop a comment saying, "I am reclaiming my peace," to show you're committed to this journey of self-mastery. Stay with us, there's so much more to explore. 8th, the mirage of quick fixes. Have you ever found yourself searching for a magic shortcut to solve your problems? Picture your life as a vast puzzle, with each piece representing a challenge, a lesson, or a meaningful experience. Now think about what would happen if someone offered you a bottle of superglue, promising that it could instantly piece everything together, no effort required. It sounds tempting, doesn't it? The idea of a quick fix, a solution that bypasses the hard work and delivers instant results, can be incredibly seductive. But here's the thing. Would it truly solve the puzzle, or would it leave you with a mess, a sticky jumble of pieces that don't fit quite right? Quick fixes are much like that imaginary superglue. They promise immediate satisfaction, but they often end up leaving us in a worse position than we started, with a mess to clean up and lessons left unlearned. So, why do we keep falling for this trap, over and over again? A study by psychologists at the University of Pennsylvania provides some insight. Our brains are naturally wired to seek the path of least resistance when confronted with complex problems. This inclination stems from our more primitive instincts, a survival mechanism that pushes us toward immediate solutions, even when our rational mind knows better. However, reality is far from a simple puzzle that can be quickly pieced together. Real life, with all its complexities and nuances, doesn't work that way. The significant challenges we face, whether in our careers, personal growth, relationships, or health, require time, patience, and persistence to overcome. There is no magic pill for success, no instant solution that can replace the value of steady, hard work, and dedication. So how can we resist the temptation of these quick fixes and instead embrace a mindset that focuses on genuine, lasting solutions? This is where the enduring wisdom of Stoicism becomes invaluable. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, offered a powerful reminder. No great thing is created suddenly. This simple yet profound statement holds a deep truth. True and meaningful achievements are the result of patience, perseverance, and continuous effort. It's not about finding shortcuts to avoid the work. It's about finding value in the journey itself, learning from each experience and growing stronger with every step. To apply this Stoic wisdom to our lives, let's practice a more thoughtful and steady approach to challenges. First, clearly identify the problem you're facing. Take the time to understand it fully and define what success looks like for you. Second, accept that the problem may be complex and that there may not be a simple or immediate solution. Acknowledge that important issues often require careful thought and sustained effort. Third, plan for the long term, set realistic goals, and break down the path to achieving them into smaller, manageable steps. Fourth, cultivate patience. Remind yourself that real progress takes time, and that setbacks are simply part of the journey, not the end of it. Fifth, celebrate small victories along the way. Recognize that every step forward, no matter how small, is a sign of progress and a reason to keep going. Consider this scenario from modern life. You decide to embark on a fitness journey, inspired by stories of rapid weight loss and transformation. You find a fad diet that promises dramatic results in just 2 weeks, and you dive in, excited by the prospect of quick success. But soon, you find yourself exhausted, frustrated, and worse off than before, having lost little weight and gained nothing but disappointment. This is a classic example of the quick fix trap. Instead of opting for a sustainable, long-term approach to fitness, one that involves balanced nutrition, regular exercise, and gradual progress, you were lured in by the promise of a shortcut. And as is often the case with shortcuts, it didn't lead you to your destination. It led you away from it. Real, lasting change comes not from quick fixes, but from a commitment to consistent effort and the willingness to endure the journey. So the next time you feel drawn toward a quick fix, pause and ask yourself, am I looking for an easy way out, or am I prepared to put in the necessary work? Reflect on whether you are ready to engage in the process that leads to true growth and lasting success. Remember that every challenge you encounter is not just a problem to be solved, but an opportunity to learn, grow, and become a stronger version of yourself. As Epictetus wisely noted, difficulties show what men are. It's in the face of these challenges that our true character is revealed and developed. Don't be seduced by the mirage of quick fixes. Instead, focus on the path of steady effort, where real, sustainable growth happens. Are you ready to let go of the illusion of quick fixes and embrace the value of persistent, mindful effort? Let every challenge you face be a stepping stone toward your own personal growth. Remember, the journey itself is where we find our true strength, resilience, and purpose. And in the end, you may just discover that the real treasure wasn't the quick solution you sought, but the wisdom and growth you gained along the way. It's in the face of these challenges that our true character is revealed and developed. Don't be seduced by the mirage of quick fixes. Instead, focus on the path of steady effort, where real, sustainable growth happens. Are you ready to let go of the illusion of quick fixes and embrace the value of persistent, mindful effort? Let every challenge you face be a stepping stone toward your own personal growth. Remember, the journey itself is where we find our true strength, resilience, and purpose. And in the end, you may just discover that the real treasure wasn't the quick solution you sought, but the wisdom and growth you gained along the way. Ninth, the guilt that doesn't belong to us. Have you ever felt burdened by guilt even when you knew deep down that it wasn't yours to bear? It's like carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. But each stone represents someone else's mistakes, expectations, or disappointments. Why do we so often take on guilt that doesn't belong to us? Perhaps it's because we care deeply about the people around us, or because we've been conditioned to think that if something goes wrong, we should feel responsible. But carrying this unnecessary guilt is like dragging a heavy anchor behind you as you try to move forward in life. It weighs you down and prevents you from living freely and authentically. Imagine being on a boat, trying to sail toward your destination, but every time you try to pick up speed, that anchor drags along the ocean floor, slowing you down, pulling you back. It's exhausting, isn't it? So, why do we allow ourselves to be weighed down by guilt that isn't ours? Consider the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher who advised, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." His point was simple yet profound. Focus on your own actions and character, rather than getting caught up in the expectations or judgments of others. This brings us to an important realization. We are only responsible for our own choices, not the choices of others, nor the outcomes that are beyond our control. Guilt, when it is misplaced, serves no purpose but to cloud our judgment and make us second-guess ourselves. It's like trying to drive a car with the brakes on. No matter how much you press the accelerator, you're not going to get far. Think about this. Have you ever found yourself feeling guilty for saying no to someone's request, even when you knew that agreeing would mean compromising your own needs or values? Or perhaps you felt guilty for choosing to prioritize your own well-being over others' expectations. This kind of guilt is often a result of societal or familial pressure, the feeling that we must always put others first, even at our own expense. But here's the truth. Your first responsibility is to yourself. As Epictetus, another great Stoic thinker, said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This means defining your own values and principles and then making choices that align with them, rather than constantly bending to accommodate others' desires or expectations. It's about setting boundaries and recognizing that you are not obligated to carry the emotional burdens of others. So how can we free ourselves from this undeserved guilt? The first step is to recognize when you are feeling guilty for something that is not within your control or responsibility. Ask yourself, is this guilt truly mine, or am I carrying it because someone else expects me to? If the answer is the latter, it's time to let it go. Second, practice self-compassion. Understand that it's okay to prioritize your own needs and to make decisions that are in your best interest. Third, set clear boundaries with those around you. Communicate openly and honestly about what you are and aren't willing to take on. Fourth, focus on what you can control: your own actions, your own responses, and your own decisions. And finally, remember the Stoic teaching. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This means acknowledging that while you can't control the actions or expectations of others, you can control how you react to them. Let's consider a real-life example. Think about a time when a friend or family member tried to make you feel guilty for not living up to their expectations. Maybe they said something like, "I can't believe you won't help me with this. I thought you cared about me." Or, "If you really loved me, you'd do this for me." These kinds of statements are designed to manipulate your emotions, to make you feel responsible for their feelings or outcomes. But the truth is, everyone is responsible for their own happiness and well-being. Just as you are responsible for yours, they are responsible for theirs. The next time you encounter this kind of emotional manipulation, take a moment to step back and ask yourself, am I truly responsible for their happiness or dissatisfaction? Or am I being unfairly pressured to take on a burden that isn't mine? At the end of the day, we must remember that our time and energy are limited resources. We should be careful about how we use them, making sure that they are invested in things that truly matter to us and align with our values. Carrying guilt that doesn't belong to us not only wastes these precious resources, but also prevents us from living a life that is true to ourselves. So, as you move forward, keep in mind this important lesson. It's okay to say no. It's okay to prioritize your own needs. And it's okay to release guilt that isn't yours. By doing so, you free yourself to live more fully, more authentically, and more in tune with your own values and desires. So, ask yourself, Are you ready to let go of the guilt that doesn't belong to you and start living your life with greater freedom and clarity? Remember, your mind is your domain, your sanctuary. You decide what thoughts and emotions to let in and which ones to keep out. Don't let anyone else make you feel guilty for living your life according to your own principles. As Marcus Aurelius would remind us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. So choose wisely, my friend, and let go of the guilt that was never yours to begin with. As we wrap up today's video on 9 things you should never receive from anyone, remember that the key takeaway is to protect your mental and emotional well-being by being mindful of what you allow into your life. Whether it's unsolicited opinions, other people's expectations, favors with strings attached, constant negativity, the illusion of external validation, unfair comparisons, unsolicited advice, quick fixes, or undeserved guilt. Each of these can subtly chip away at your peace of mind if left unchecked. The wisdom of Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our own thoughts, actions, and reactions, while letting go of the noise and distractions that don't serve our personal growth or happiness. The power lies within you to choose whose voices you allow to influence you and which expectations you decide to meet. It's about living authentically and embracing your own journey with all its unique challenges and rewards. So are you ready to take charge of your life and cultivate a mindset that is resilient, focused, and true to your own values? If you found value in this video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Stoic in Your Life. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming videos filled with more Stoic wisdom and practical strategies for living a fulfilled life. If you resonate with these teachings and want to continue on this journey of self-improvement, leave a comment below saying, "I like Stoicism," and consider becoming a channel member to join our supportive community. Let's keep learning, growing, and striving to live our best lives together. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.